Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got something new, but something familiar. And yes, something with a name that already has a bit more about it than the usual AliExpress chuck a dart at a dodgy English dictionary entry and call it a brand name. The Acton Adventurer Dune. Another fancy looking sports cum exploration option that wants to do battle with everything from Seiko to the entire front page of AliExpress. So, does it stand a chance? Or is it just another logo on a dial? Let's see. Now, cards on the table. Acton have sent me this for free, which is lovely of them. But, as always, it doesn't mean I'm going to stroke its ego for 10 minutes and call it a day. I'm not QVC, I'm reviewing it, not selling it. And because I like to keep things honest, I'll once again put my money, or the watch, where my mouth is, and give this one away to one of you lucky lot. Details on how to enter the giveaway will come later, so don't vanish yet. Right, enough build up, let's run through the specs before we start pretending this is an adventure. Looking like it was spec'd by a committee, but finished by someone who actually cared, the Adventurer Dune lands at 36mm wide, although I measure it at 37mm. 46mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick, including the crystal, and tips the scales at 121 grams. It's compact, without being flimsy, and carries just enough steel to avoid feeling like a toy. The case is brushed stainless steel, and the 90mm oyster-style bracelet tapers to 16mm at the clasp. Clean, balanced, and refreshingly normal human-sized. On top, it has a double-domed sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. Water resistance is 100 metres, which is more than enough unless your hobbies involve oxygen tanks and certification. Inside, it runs the Seiko VH31 meca-quartz, 4 ticks per second, 2-year battery life, 0 maintenance, and quartz level accuracy. Although, if 4 ticks is not your thing, the option to double up your ticking order to a full-fat automatic version packing the PT5000 is available. Rounding out the specs, the bracelet has a sign clasp with 5 micro-adjust holes and proper security pushers. It's not groundbreaking, but everything here is done like they meant it. Now we've ticked all the boxes, let's see if this thing's actually any fun. Acton is a new microbrand on the scene, the brainchild of husband and wife duo Alex and Grace. They're based in Hong Kong, but the name and part of the soul comes from the UK, specifically West London, where Alex grew up in the not-so-sleepy town of Acton. Suddenly, the name clicks. It's personal, not plucked from a branding spreadsheet. The connection isn't just sentimental, it's stitched right into the brand's DNA. The logo, for example, is a stylised nod to St Mary's Church, a well-known landmark in the area. It's subtle, playful, and mercifully not another generic shield or anchor trying to fake a backstory. It's a nice touch, quiet confidence rather than shouting about heritage it hasn't earned yet. The Adventurer is their first release, a starting point, not a destination. A foundational launch designed to put Acton on the map and set a tone for what's to come. And while this may be their opening move, Alex has already hinted the next release will take things on a completely different, much more original direction. So yes, this is just the beginning, and they're not planning to play it safe for long. Now, let's address the brushed steel elephant in the room, the case and dial. Yes, you've seen it before. No, you're not hallucinating. The design will look familiar to anyone who's spent more than 5 minutes on AliExpress, particularly hovering over the Addiesdive AD2030, and that's no accident. Alex isn't pretending. Acton's teamed up with Addiesdive and licensed the case and dial, full disclosure, zero shame. So no, it's not groundbreaking, it's not even mildly shaken. But at least they're honest about it, which makes a change in an industry where half the brands would swear they designed it after receiving an affirmation in a dream from a watch goblin. Spoiler, they didn't, they clicked add to cart. There are tweaks, of course, subtle refinements here and there, with Acton adding their own flavour to what's essentially a proven template. According to Alex, the partnership let them focus on the stuff that actually matters to the customer, namely finishing and quality control. Which, let's be honest, are the things most microbrands promise but only half deliver. So in theory, you're getting a familiar look minus the mystery QC roulette. The case features radial brushing on top and polished sides, with a transition between the two that's alarmingly well executed. Honestly, it's genuinely sharp, and probably the best finishing I've seen on an Addiesdive case, so either they've stepped up their game or someone in QC accidentally did their job properly. But don't worry, they've probably been sacked for it. The crown is a tiny screw-down thing that's signed. Like Acton have a bit of an attitude. Yeah, we made it fiddly. Yeah, we're proud of it. Deal with it. But it looks good, and thanks to the movement, you won't need to use it often. Unless you bought the automatic version, in which case, congratulations, you've chosen inconvenience on purpose. The bracelet is the usual Addiesdive number, but again, the finishing just looks a step above anything I've seen from the brand before. The brushing is fine and straight, with no issues of it being a couple of degrees off centre. But the 19mm lug width is just a little annoying, turning a watch that has a potential to be a strap monster into one you just won't bother trying. Thankfully, the solid milled clasp is well machined and the double security pushers add a peace of mind. Again, nothing groundbreaking, no fancy on-the-fly adjustment, but it works and doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart after one picnic in the park. Now, don't get me wrong, QC has clearly been taken into account here, but don't expect miracles. This is still the usual Addiesdive number, perfectly acceptable, but nothing groundbreaking. And yes, it still has that signature jangle. Topping off the case is the first tangible upgrade on the AD2030, a double-domed AR-coated slab of sapphire jutting out from the bezel, a welcome upgrade giving it a premium, warm, vintage look. These Dune dials have been around longer than your nan's antique tea set, and yet I still can't get enough of them. There's just something classy about the way the light hits that grainy texture, like wearing formal shoes at the seaside. The tones all play nicely together too, classy, understated, and just enough smug to not feel out of place when chatting to the bigger boys with their 10 grand wonders. The usual dial colours are there if you fancy falling asleep mid-spec sheet. Silvery white, the standard, I found this on the beach beige, but Acton has thrown a curveball. This grey midnight number caught my eye, and not in the, oh no, not another grey dial way. Most of the time, it looks like volcanic sand. Lovely. But catch it in the right light and bam, sneaky hints of olive green. It's like camouflage, but it turns heads instead of hiding from them. Acton's also added lumed markers around the minute track, a subtle nod to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. And yes, I clocked it immediately. It's a detail small enough to be missed by most, but a detail I love. In short, excellent work. The lume, BGW9 across the hands and markers, giving off that cool blue glow in the dark. Is it a torch? No. But it's bright enough to see the time when you wake up at 3 a.m, wondering if that's your missus or the dog licking your ear. And the hands, Dauphine style, Grand Seiko inspired, but without the mortgage. They're loomed, well finished, with only macro level of magnification picking up imperfections. So unless you're peering through a microscope and actively trying to ruin your day, you'll be impressed. Now, sure, it would have been nice to see Acton go rogue and done something wildly different with a dial. But what they've done instead is stick the landing with a design that's familiar, refined, and suspiciously well executed for the price. Not flawless, but close enough that you'll start squinting just to prove a point. Alright, let's pause the review because it's giveaway time. Yep, I'm giving this watch away to one of you glorious lots when the channel hits 5,000 subscribers. And if you're already subbed, thank you. Seriously, what started as me ranting into the void 10 months ago has somehow snowballed into thousands of you hanging around for watch chat and sarcasm. A third giveaway in under a year? I never saw that coming, mildly emotional, let's never speak of it again. Here's how to enter. I'd love to know more about you lot watching this stuff, so please do the following. Subscribe, like the video, and drop a comment with an interesting fact about yourself. Bonus points if it's mildly disturbing or entirely useless. My interesting but pointless fact? I used to DJ and produce music in my 20s, got signed to some indie labels, and somehow blagged my way across the UK and parts of Europe playing music to people far cooler than me. Yes, you can still find my tracks on all good streaming sites, and some rubbish ones too. No, I'm not directing you to them. Cool, giveaway sorted, let's get back to the review. The watch wears perfectly in my 6¼ inch wrist. It sits flat and is comfortable, as you'd expect with a piece with such diminutive dimensions. But although small, it has some wrist presence, so it doesn't look like I stole it from a child. Now the price. £151. I know what you're thinking. How can a watch with those specs and that case and dial cost that much, when the equivalent Addiesdive is a third of the price? Well, I suppose it depends on what you value in a watch. The Addiesdive is an absolute bargain for what you're getting. But if you value that extra level of quality control, that near immaculate finishing, and all the other little things which, if we're being honest, cost time and money to perfect, then the Adventurer Dune represents decent value. A genuine 24-month, properly registered warranty, plus the name, Acton, and the logo on the dial probably represents a little bump in price over the Addiesdive and that monstrosity of a logo. However, personally, I'd still splash the extra cash on the automatic version and have a watch that truly feels like it's bordering on being a proper watch for not a lot of money. But if you want to give this one a spin, then Acton have kindly provided me with a discount code for you all. Just click the link in the description and use Fully Lumed at the checkout for 10% off your purchase. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to enter the giveaway for a chance to win this watch, and I'll catch you in the next one.